Check one, check one, check two. I just want to make sure we're set up, we're working to go. So make sure we're set up across all devices. But hey, while I'm making sure everything is set up, welcome, welcome, and thank you, and welcome. I definitely want to say that as we kick off this live session. So make sure that the room is set up right. We got our comments in order. We can get people going. Let's double check right here. Make sure we're looking good on LinkedIn as we tap in here. So I think we look good here. I think we look good. So we'll go ahead and kick this off. Move this over here. So welcome and thank you. As you know, as I shared before, today we're going to be discussing overcoming imposter syndrome and high pressure healthcare roles. And just a little bit about me before we kick this thing off. Listen, I'm a former healthcare executive turned entrepreneur like a couple of years ago. But I found out on my grind in that corporate ladder that, not only is it a tough grind, but a lot of it had to do with a lot of connections and networking. But then once I found myself in these positions that I aspired to be in, I realized that, man, some of that imposter syndrome creeped in. And, it's just, it's telling yourself that you don't belong there. Like, this is not the room that you're supposed to be in, or the timing isn't right, or you're looking at other people and you're like, well, these people don't look like me. So it creates all this nasty feeling, not only in your body, but in your head. So today's topic is overcoming imposter syndrome and high pressure healthcare roles. So I definitely want to acknowledge that, there's stress and there's pressure in the healthcare industries. And some of these things is going to be long hours. We're talking about high stakes, constant changing to the healthcare system, constant changing within your own practice, constant changing to the way we deliver care, constant change to the way we talk to people, constant changing to, we're talking about AI in healthcare. So there's all kinds of things that create these high pressure situations within healthcare. I want to ask you, anybody, you can raise your hand, tap in, drop a light bulb in the comments. Have you ever felt like you were just waiting for somebody to find out that you're not as skilled as you think you are? I'm going to pause there. Have you ever felt like you're waiting for somebody to call you out to just say, you know what, Pat, you don't even belong here. Like your skills is not that, you're not what you think you are. And then that created this feeling of imposter syndrome. Anybody, raise your hand. And if it happened to you, it's happened to me. So I share that as well. It has definitely happened. Before we get into imposter syndrome, you really need to understand truly what is imposter syndrome. And here's the breakdown. It's the psychological pattern where high achieving individuals, they doubt their accomplishments and the fear of being exposed. I'm going to read that again. It's the psychological pattern where high achieving, and I did mention high achieving individuals doubt their accomplishments and fear of being exposed, right? So what are some of these root causes here? Why does imposter syndrome flourish in competitive healthcare environments? One is because that high expectation as well as perfectionism. Some of that high expectation, it isn't just the expectation of your organization. It's the expectation that you have for yourself. So you're creating this environment, right, where now in your brain, I need to be here. And if I'm not here, that creates all this additional press and stressor that you're putting on yourself. So that's one of the root causes why it happens within the environment. This constant learning curve too. We all know if you're looking to grow your journey as a leader within any space, right? But we're specifically focused on healthcare, that you need to constantly continue to reinvest back in yourself. And then that reinvestment can show up in schooling. It can show up in certifications. It can show up at, I'm doing LinkedIn coursework. It can show up that I'm attending conferences, or I'm just, I'm attending webinars of other thought leaders so I can just kind of continue to fuel myself, right? That creates this environment where there's imposter syndrome. Do I even belong there as well? And then the hierarchy struggle or structure. Many of us, we work for organizations where there's multiple different levels of leadership. And, you may be looking at, okay, I'm here, but there's another 3, 4, 5 more different levels above me that I aspire to be, and I'm not there yet. And then you're looking at your situation and you can say there's two, three, four, five levels below you of people that are looking up to you, that are looking for guidance and leadership as well. So being somewhere in that middle or at the top, whatever it happens to be, that creates this situation where imposter syndrome does creep in those situations as well. And then here's a big one right here. This happened for me. It's the lack of representation. If you don't see many people who look like you in that leadership role, you may feel like you don't belong. And that truly happens. I mean, think about that. If there's not a whole lot of people that look like you doing what you aspire to do, that can create this doubt in your head to where that imposter syndrome creeps in. And then all of a sudden, it just stops you from moving forward altogether. So my question to you is, have you ever felt like you don't deserve your success? Think about it. Drop some comments. Have you ever felt like you don't deserve your success? I think I got some people knocking on the door, so I want to make sure that I'm making sure everybody's in here. Yeah. There we go. That's looking good. Okay, perfect. So we're looking good there. So the question was, have you ever felt like you don't deserve your success? Drop a comment. Let me know. Or if you're one of those, you know what, I'm an introvert, or I'm introverted, or I'm extroverted, and I don't feel like dropping comments, put a light bulb in the comments. And then I know I see you, I validate you, and we can connect afterwards. But here's some. So how do top healthcare professionals, how have they battled these feelings? This is what you need to understand. And part of what I do with my company, PDP Media, so shameless plug, but this is my life, so I can tell you, follow me, or you can connect with my organization, www.pdpmedia.com. And that's P as in Patrick, D as in dog, P as in Patrick, pdpmedia.com. But what I do is, I interview healthcare executives and organizations from around the world, and I introduce you to their stories. I introduce you to their challenges, to their setbacks. I help you understand where they found themselves and what they did to pivot in order to overcome those particular things. Because in order to reach that very pinnacle of success that they were looking for, they had to overcome some stuff. And so I share those stories with you. And whether it's in my newsletter or my podcast, Health Hustle Chronicles, you definitely tap in with that. You can find that pretty much anywhere you do your streaming, whether it's Spotify, Apple, or iHeartRadio, whatever it is, you can find Health Hustle Chronicles there. It's been growing in popularity. So thank you for all the listeners and the watchers, because I also have a video component of that as well. But some of the stories, if we go back to some of the stories that have been shared, like I spoke to a Black female physician who, she shared with me, despite graduating top of her class, I mean, we're talking about literally top of her class, that she constantly felt that she had to prove herself, and she wasn't. And it wasn't until she connected with, a mentor who told her, you know what, you belong in this room, just like everyone else, So that started to set this change of events, specifically with her mind, that allowed her to pivot to see, you know what, I do belong in the room. I did do all of that and some. I did position myself for these opportunities. And so here I am today in the room with you, being this physician who I aspire to be, and now I can practice and be part of the team, right? Another example, there's a hospital CEO that admitted to feeling like an outsider in board meetings early in their career, because they later realized that they were chosen for that executive role because they were an outsider, because they delivered different ways of thoughts, because they came to champion initiatives that people wasn't really discussing or talking about before. So that's why they were in the room. They were in the room for a reason. It's because they had something to bring to the table that was probably similar or different than everybody else. If imposter syndrome creeped in that moment, then you wouldn't be sharing your thoughts, or you wouldn't even be in the room. So, think about that as well. I want to ask you this. Who has ever felt like you're the odd person out in your field? Raise your hand, drop some comments, share with me your experience in the chat. And the reason I want you to share your experience in the chat is because what I'm growing here is I'm growing a network. And if we're truly talking about networking, this is networking one-on-one, some of that networking at its best. You want to network with other like-minded individuals like yourself who aspire to be where in these positions that you aspire to be at, or they've already achieved that level of success. So in this network right here, as you drop these comments and we get other people to see your comments, these are people going to see that, hey, you know what, Erica, she just dropped some comments and she shared the same feelings that I share. And guess what? I think this is a collaboration opportunity where we can continue to learn from each other. So when I ask you to drop your comments, this is not to put you on blast. This is to help you understand that there's a network of people who aspire to do the same or similar things as you. And then when they read your comments or they see you tap in, they understand that, hey, you know what, Patrick's on that hustle journey as well. He's all about helping me out as well. And in those moments, then you're going to continue to grow. And we're going to create this environment where we continue to grow one another. So as we pivot here to effective strategies, some of the practical tools, mental shifts that are required to reclaim your confidence, right? First thing first, we want to reframe that thought process. Instead of saying, you know what, I don't belong here, I want you to try something. I want you to try to say, well, I'm still learning. And that's normal. Pause for a minute. Think about that. That positive shift in what you just said, it's not that I don't belong here. You telling yourself, you know what, I do belong here, but I'm still learning. And that's normal. So you're validating your feelings. And then that's going to help you move past that imposter syndrome as well. The other thing, too, that I want you to do is keep a wins folder. Why is this important? It's important for a lot of different reasons. But what is a wins folder? A wins folder is basically any folder, journal, any type of tool that you use to jot down your wins throughout the year. And in this wins folder, it can be wins from, it can be compliments from patients. It can be compliments from peers. It can be leadership praise. It can be personal success stories. Whatever that was that you overcame or you accomplished, you went to school, you completed your bachelor's degree, you completed a certification, you reached the level of, got your doctor's degree, whatever that win happened to be for you, write that down. Because why I don't want you to do this, because when you're going to go back 30 days later, you're going to go back a quarter later, you're going to go back 6 months later, you're going to go back later, a year later, when you find yourself in those positions where that imposter syndrome is creeping in, you go back and you review and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I may feel like this at the moment, but look what I've overcome. Look at all this experience that I've gained. Look at what I've actually been through and actually came out on the other side. That wins journal is going to help continue to build your resilience. It's going to help you tap back into your grit. It's going to help you put that positive mental spin on where you are in your environment today. So create a wins folder. But here's another added benefit as well. As you do your quarterly reviews, your year-end reviews, you can go back. You're fully prepared at this point. You can be like, hey, boss, hey, supervisor, these are the things that I accomplished throughout the year. And you're not digging for them because you already have that wins folder. And so what this will allow you to do is position you for future opportunities as well. And those future opportunities could allow you to grow and put you in a position to reach, contribute to your success story. The other thing too is speak it out. And what I mean speaking it out, this is not just talking to yourself, which, I admit I do all the time. I talk to myself all the time. So, I'm not afraid to admit that because sometimes I have to be my own personal cheerleader. So it's a great way to continue to boast yourself up is talking to yourself, which is cool. But the other thing too is you may want to consider seeking some mentorships or even therapy. And what this will allow you to do is recognize that imposter feeling, it's only a feeling. It's not real. It's just the feeling. And we tend to allow these feelings to become so real that it prevents us from moving forward entirely. And that's not what we want to happen. So speak it out is one of the strategies that I'm going to encourage you to do. Celebrate your progress. Okay. Not just perfection. All right. Celebrate your progress, not just perfect. You should understand this. Doctors, nurses, a lot of these, certified healthcare professionals, they didn't just get there by luck. Like they actually went to school. They didn't become experts in their field just by going to school. They actually continue to do advanced training, whether there was residency. A big part of what you're going to learn is on the OJT, on the job training, right? So even doctors and nurses, when they come in, they may feel like, I don't belong here, but everything that they've done has positioned them for that. You could be in a technology role, whether you're on the production side of the house, whether you're a scrum master, whether you're in sales and marketing, whatever that is. You didn't get there just by pure luck. Like there's other opportunities that we went through in order to sharpen our skills, to develop, who we are. And then now that you're there, you've earned that spot to be there. That doesn't mean you don't need to be there. Well, what it means now is I need to continue to reinvest back into myself if I'm going to continue to advance in my career. So listen, celebrate your progress and not just the perfection. Then own your achievements. If you made it through, med school, nursing school, you climbed that corporate ladder, it wasn't luck. It wasn't luck. It was you. It was 100% you. So kudos to you. Congratulations to you. Celebrate your wins, right? But then now we can continue to pick up the pieces and we can move forward. So here's the challenge that I have for you. I want you to drop one achievement, just one achievement in the comments that you're proud of, whether it was big or small. Go ahead. I'll wait for a second. Go ahead and drop those achievements in the comment, big or small, that you're proud of. This is going to be important because other people will see those achievements and they're going to say, you know what? Amber just dropped a comment and this is something that she actually achieved that I haven't achieved. So now I can tap back in with Amber. So now I've created this network of people that I can network with. I can find other mentors. Or Amber dropped a comment and here I am, I'm 1 or 2 levels above Amber. Now I can reach back and I can connect with Amber and say, you know what? You dropped a comment. This is what you went through. I've already been through that. So let me educate you on what I did in that situation. It helps out as well. So once you have this network in this community, it helps with overcoming imposter syndrome as well. You realize you're not the only one in that situation who's faced that before. So I'll pause here to see if there's questions before we transition to this wrap up. I didn't want to make this long. This live session, you'll probably see me come in with a live on a weekly basis at this point. And a little bit about me. I'm Patrick Hart, former healthcare executive, turned entrepreneur. I spent 6 years in the military as helicopter mechanic, pivoted, became a mobile home sales manager, general manager. Housing market went to crap. I pivoted from that, found healthcare in 2009, and then started this journey to, finding, success within healthcare. And I found that there was tons of opportunities. But even though there's tons of opportunities, there's not we don't do a really good job of helping people understand what that career ladder looks like. And so I was able to position myself. You ran a business unit in 2015, sold that company at the end of 2018. And then since then, I've been on this journey trying to educate and inspire and uplift the next generation of leaders. And I do that in many different ways. Again, there's my newsletter. You want to tap in with my newsletter, Health Hustle Chronicles. There's also my podcast. My newsletter is Hustling 25/8. My podcast is Health Hustle Chronicles. Or you can go to my website, www.pdpmedia. You can tap in with me there. There's going to be additional resources and people that I can connect you to. But I created this for you. So with that being said, I plan on bringing some more of these live sessions to you, hopefully on a weekly format. Please drop some comments if there's topics that you would like to learn more about. And I can't say I'm a professional in everything, but I've been through a lot. And then one of the other things that you're going to see too is, more fireside chats where I bring you different leaders throughout the world in various positions to really help you understand what their hustle and struggle is about as well. But understand this, imposter syndrome, it doesn't mean that you're unqualified. That's not what it means. It's not. It just means that you're pushing to your boundary. You're pushing beyond your comfort zone. And we all know this. If you've never heard it before, I'll share with you as well. That's where your growth happens. It happens in those uncomfortable situations. I say this to you. If you go to work every day, like you're still going in office, right? You go to work, or if maybe you're working remote, but if you know exactly what your day is going to be day in, day out, there's a chance that you've probably got comfortable. And if you've gotten comfortable, there's probably even better chance that you're not growing towards whatever goals or aspirations that you have. So it's up to us to seek out those uncomfortable situations, right? That's going to put us in positions that probably this is where we're going to find that imposter syndrome. But this is what this topic was about, is now that we're there, how do we overcome it, right? And so you can go back and listen to this live session and you can tap back into some of those tools and techniques that I've shared with you before. But the other thing I want to share with you, own your success because you work for it. Like no one else did this for you. No one could have got your certifications for you. No one did your degrees for you. They wasn't sitting in those online classes or in those live sessions on the school campus. No one did that. You did that, right? So own your success. Here you are. You've reached a level that you're looking around and your peers haven't reached that before. It wasn't happenstance that did that. DEI didn't do that for you. Okay, you did that. All right. DEI may have gave you a leg up and create that opportunity, right? Where you got that interview. But at the end of the day, you still got to interview for the job. You still got to do the job. You still have to do all the coursework to position yourself to get the job. So own their success there. So here's my call to action as we wrap this thing up. If this resonated with you, like if it truly, truly resonated with you, I want to invite you to connect with me after the fact. And let's keep the conversation going. Connect with me many different ways before. I told you you can subscribe to Hustling 25/8. I share, positive, impactful stories. I bring you thought leaders. You can go to my website, www.pdpmedia, and you can find a lot of that live content there as well. Or you can listen to the podcast, Health Hustle Chronicles, where there's going to be people that look and sound like you, people who've achieved the level of success that you aspire to achieve. You can listen to their stories and you can learn directly from them as well. So until next time, I tell you to keep hustling, keep grinding, and let's make sure we stay connected. All right, I'll talk to you soon.